Welcome to my guide. This guide won't be a beginner level guide on the Orochi, as this guide will not cover abilities. This guide is dedicated to advanced Orochi tactics and how to improve your Orochi gameplay. There are four main methods of blocking an ability in this game. These techniques go as dodges, blocks, deflects, and parries. A dodge is where you just roll out of the way of an ability using your directional key and space if you're playing on keyboard and mouse, which goes as that. The next thing will be blocking an ability. Sometimes you can perfectly time these blocks and sometimes they fail at timing. When you perfectly time the block, a high-pitched ding sound will come out and you won't take any block damage. When you fail a perfect block, it will do that. It won't give a high ding sound, and you will take some block damage. There is no damage in this current duel that I am in. The next technique that I will go over is deflects. When you are attacked, you can move in at your opponent and deflect an ability. This is used to get off a free strike, and is the Orochi's main method of getting off free damage. The fourth technique in the Orochi's arsenal is parries. Parries are whenever you do a heavy attack while blocking an opponent's attack. Parries are used because afterwards you can bash your opponent and get off two free light attacks, or one heavy attack. It is done as so. You can also get off a heavy attack if you need to do an execution in a Dominion, elimination, or brawl match. This is the best way to attack on the Orochi, or to defend on the Orochi. Sorry. The reason why I say this is because it works in almost any situation. If your opponent is near a cliff and they attack you, you parry them, you bash them, and then you can just kick them into the cliff. If your opponent needs some damage on them, you can just do the two free strikes, which I'm not actually succeeding at doing here. And if you also need to do an execution to get off some health, you can do a guaranteed one there. This is the best way to block as the Orochi. And this will conclude the block parries technique section of this guide. This section will be on how to practice your Orochi gameplay. What I do is I go into a custom match, I put a bot in a 1v1 duel, I make it so that there is no damage, 99 rounds, 0 time limit. You can do that by setting it to the lowest setting. And what I do is I just don't attack the bot. You see, bots aren't really too great at defending, but they will throw out some random attacks. I usually just deflect these and try to not get hit. The three things that you want to practice in this are dodges, blocks, parries, and deflects. The four things that I covered in my previous section. Practicing these will give you great success in your duels, as you will be able to pull off blocks, parries easier, protecting yourself and being able to do some damage to your opponent at the same time. If you want to practice on the offense as the Orochi, you have to really go into human matches, as they are the only people who really know how to defend abilities. I suggest trying to find a friend who is really good at this game, and then just practicing against them. They probably know what they're doing, and you probably know what you're doing, so it's going to be a challenge for both people. This will conclude the practicing as the Orochi section. This will be the third and concluding section of this guide. This guide will cover how to read your opponent and what to do once you figure out their tendencies and strategies. As the Orochi, you're mainly defensive. You don't really go on the offense, as you don't have any unblockables or moves that can't be harmed, as whenever you attack somebody, but if they attack you in the middle of it, your attack still goes through. The Orochi is very defensive, mainly getting his damage from his dodges, his parries, and all that jazz. So, how to read your opponent. If you see that your opponent is bashing a lot, like he's playing a knight or a warlord, then you want to dodge out of the way of these abilities and just keep on rolling around your opponent, because they won't be able to do anything in this. If they keep on doing the running bashes, that's what you should do, but if they do standstill bashes, just make sure that your hand is always on your bash key. This is one of the most confusing things about this game, and one of the hardest to learn. Bashes are probably the strongest weapon in the game. They can insta-kill you if you throw them off of a bridge. They can get off free damage. They can do executions. They are the strongest ability in this game, and they are in everybody's kit. They're even stronger if you have things that you can do with them, like the Nabushi and the Peacekeeper. So, countering these blocks is a major part in playing this game. You want to crack down on those whenever you practice against humans, and it's really a thing that you need to practice. Another thing that I've seen many opponents do, and how to counter it as the Orochi, is whenever they just keep on spamming light attacks, spam, 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 spam. I mainly see this from Peacekeepers and other Orochis. What you should do against this is stay calm. I've noticed that staying calm is one of the easiest ways for me to succeed as the Orochi. And just block one of them. Stay calm, block them, and if they just keep on moving, just wait until you see an opening. Wait until you see an ability that you know that you can deflect or parry, and then go for it. If they keep on hitting you, then maybe you should practice against that person. These people I have learned to counter, and once you have, you know how to do that strategy, and you also know how to counter that strategy. These are the two main things that I see other Orochi players struggling from, and the things that I have struggled from. This will conclude the guide on the Orochi. If you want to get in contact with me, my Uplay name is The Other Noob, THE Other NEWB. And if you also want to catch me while I'm streaming, it will be KroganMan3598, KROGENMAN3598. I will have these in the description, and don't forget to leave a like and a comment, and maybe subscribe to my channel. Thank you, and bye.